Hi guys, my name is Christine and I'm a dating, relationship and personal development coach. And today I'm talking about how to become unplayable so you'll never be played again. So the first thing that I want to discuss, which is really important, and that is when you start dating someone, they can disguise who they are. So it may be the case that you are with a player, but they're really good at hiding who they are and you don't find out about it until later down the road. And it completely blindsides you because they've just been completely dishonest about themselves and they've been able to hide themselves a lot. And that is a case that can happen with a lot of people because there are some people out there that are quite manipulative that can lie about themselves. But usually, you can tell the red flags because the worst thing that you could probably do when you start dating is when you ignore red flags and you're only looking at the good side of things and you get too emotional too soon and you are unable to remain skeptical, because this was definitely something that I went through. And if you've been a follower of my channel for a long time, you're probably sick of me saying this story, but it's important that I give it in case I have new viewers. But when I started dating a girl in my early 20s, and this was like the first proper relationship that I'd been in, within the first few weeks of dating this girl, she asked me, what would you do if I cheated on you? And I should have took that as a red flag, but because I was, only looking for the good things, only wanted to see the good things, I completely ignored it, right? Obviously, I didn't ignore it to the point that I forgot about it. There was something still in the back of my head thinking, that's a really weird thing for you to say, because otherwise I would have just forgotten about it. But it sticks out. Like I can remember it like it was yesterday. So that red flag was there. Like my brain picked it up, but I didn't want to believe it, right? And sometimes we do that. We don't want to believe that the person that we're dating is capable of breaking our heart and things like that. But the truth is that you just don't know. And that's why at the beginning you should remain skeptical and you shouldn't allow your emotions to get away from you. So even if you do start dating someone who is lying about who they are, right, you will notice some inconsistencies. And this was something that I experienced when I had broken up with that girl and I started dating a new one for a couple of months, and I was dating this one for about 3 months consistently, and I found out that she was a compulsive liar, right? And basically she lied about, having siblings. She said that she had adoptive siblings that weren't real. She once told me a story about her dad, and then another time that I saw her, she told me the exact same story, but this time it was about her sister. Things like that. Like, it was really, really odd. And I discovered that I was with a compulsive liar and that I needed to get out of that connection and need to start dating someone new. But as you can see, these things do come about, right? You will notice inconsistencies with someone who is playing you, whether it is just simply by lies or whether they are actually going to be a cheater and cheat on you. You will notice the red flags, which is why it's important that you remain skeptical and you don't fall in love with their potential, but you actually fall in love with the person that you're seeing in front of you, right? Sometimes you can't really believe what people say, but you have to trust more on their actions and things like that. Like, how are they actually behaving? And if they're inconsistent, then you know that something is afoot, right? And that you should be very, very careful with whoever it is that you're dating. And maybe you need to kind of withdraw a little bit and think to yourself, well, maybe I could still date this person. Maybe this would be good practice for me, but I shouldn't really be trying to commit myself to this person because they're just displaying these red flags. I'm a little bit unsure, and you should really trust your instincts with these kinds of things. I should have trusted my instincts with that occasion when that girl said to me, what would you do if I cheated on you? I should have paid very, very close attention to that. My brain did, but I didn't want to pay attention to it, right? So you have to trust basically your instincts. When something sounds off, it's probably because it is. A lot of the mistakes that I made, I feel like, is that I would go into a new relationship or I would start dating someone who I was really, really attracted to, and I would just assume that they were perfect, right? I had this kind of like fairy tale sort of like, oh, I'm dating a princess who's perfect and can't do no wrong, that kind of thing. Like, I would go into it like that because I was like, oh, she's really beautiful, therefore she must be perfect and have no flaws. And I had this kind of like really warped Disney view on what romance should be, which didn't really help me, because actually people are very, very flawed. No one is perfect, and you should never put anyone on a pedestal, no matter how attractive they may appear, because no doubt they have some flaws about them, some idiosyncrasies, some things about them that are not going to be perfect, right? I'm not perfect. My wife's not perfect. Most of my family and friends are not perfect. In fact, I don't think I've ever met a perfect human being, right? Someone who can do no wrong, basically, because they're out there. Everyone does at least something wrong. Everyone has some kind of part of their personality. Someone might have a temper. Someone might be passive aggressive. Someone may just bottle up their feelings, things like that. There are many ways that someone could be flawed. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't find someone perfect for you. It's just that you need to know that the person that you're dating is going to have things about them that you're not going to be 100% happy with. But sometimes that is just human beings in general. Like, you can't find a perfect human being to date. You kind of just have to figure out what are the things that you can live with. Obviously, for me, that I couldn't live with being with someone who was a cheater. And guess what? That girl who I dated, who said to me, "What would you do if I cheated on you?" did eventually cheat on me a few months later, right? So it's just the things that you can live with. So if you can live with someone who's a bit snappy, who's got a little bit of a temper, and you can deal with that, then that's great. If you can live with someone who sometimes gives you a bit of silent treatment, then that's great. What's the most important thing when you're trying to find someone to be with is that you enjoy their company, you have a lot in common, so you can actually have a life together as opposed to a life apart. And I've talked about this recently, but I know people who have completely different interests, and they're a couple, and they basically live in different parts of the house because they don't have anything to share with. They don't have any shared things that they enjoy together. So when you're trying to find someone to be in a relationship with, you need to find someone who you can do things with, who, likes the same things as you. Who has the same kind of lifestyle. Because another thing about that relationship that I was in with the girl that cheated on me was she was a party person. She would go out every single Friday, and sometimes multiple times, to go out to the club and get drunk and things like that, and come back home at like 3 a.m. or even later. And I personally, I didn't mind going out sometimes, but the fact that it was every week was way too much for me. And I didn't want to have that kind of lifestyle. I prefer doing things in the day. Like, I prefer going out, go sightseeing, going hiking, going to, kind of nice, like, places where there's, like, beautiful landscapes, and, going to, places like zoos and stuff. Like, I love doing that kind of thing. I love doing that kind of thing where we, go out in the day, and it's, having picnics and stuff. That's the kind of lifestyle that I enjoy. So obviously living with someone who liked nightlife wasn't what I should have been trying to stick with, which is something that I did try to stick with, right? So you need to find someone who likes the same things as you, who you can enjoy shared experiences with, who lives the same kind of lifestyle as you, because if you are someone who loves to have a drink, then that's fine, but you can't be with someone then who doesn't want to drink or doesn't want to do anything like that. And of course the reverse is true. If you prefer, staying at home, and having, doing more home things like sitting and snuggling and watching a movie, but the person that you're dating loves to go out, then there's going to be a clash there. You need to find someone who essentially is like you, so that you can enjoy each other and have fun, and not be mad at each other, because that's where a lot of people go wrong. They meet people and stay with people who they're just not aligned with, and then they butt heads all of the time, and it just makes their life like 100 times more difficult, because the most important person in your life, apart from yourself, is the person that you're going to spend the rest of your life with. Because even if you have kids, and you probably will love your kids more than you love your spouse, but eventually those kids are going to grow up and they're going to leave, and then eventually it's just going to be you two back together alone, and you have to make sure that that person is someone that you enjoy being with, right? Because if not, it's not going to be a nice life for you. You need to find ways to make life easier for you, because life is already difficult, it's already hard. So don't make it more difficult by trying to match yourself with someone who is a mismatch. So what happens then when you discover that you're with someone who is perhaps playing you in some way, whether it's from lies, being sneaky behind your back, perhaps it is cheating, then when someone starts doing this, or you start seeing the red flags, you simply have to walk away from them, because you can't be with someone like that who's going to, where you're always going to have to be, like sleeping with one eye open. You can't be in that kind of place. You can't be in that kind of relationship. And the reason why I say that is because it's just not fun. It's just not fun to be with someone who you don't trust, who you're wondering, oh my God, what are they going to do next? Like, it's not a fun place to be. And you should, like I said, you want to make sure that life is as easy for you as possible because it's already difficult, right? So when you start noticing these red flags, no matter how hard it is, no matter how difficult it is, no matter how beautiful they are and how much potential they have, you have to let them go because they are showing you their true colors, right? And those are their true colors, right? Because even if they say, because people can obviously change who they are, but don't count on it, right? It's like the joke, how many psychiatrists did it take to change a light bulb? Just one, but the light bulb has to want to change. And most people, guess what? Don't want to change. They want to stay who they are. Cheaters usually remain as cheaters because they just believe that everybody cheats on each other, and that's a belief that they have, whether they know it or not. Right, they believe that instinctively, that this is just the way human beings are. They just cheat on each other. I mean, perhaps you're someone who can tolerate living in a relationship like that, but I personally think most people should be aiming, everyone should be aiming for a relationship that is as effortless as possible, right? So thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to get in touch with me personally, then please go to www.christineloveridge.com. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye.